if you're like most coaches and consultants, you probably have an experience that's very similar to sell, deliver, panic, and repeat. So many coaches and consultants that I've worked with, specifically if they come out of corporate, are stuck in this mode. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can not only get out of that mode, but you can create predictable revenue for your coaching and consulting business. If we haven't met yet, I'm Elisa Connor. This is the Marketing Menagerie. Every week we talk about how to amplify the results of your marketing without investing in more stuff. So we talk strategy and we talk about how to make the most out of your business without giving your life away. This week, we're talking about how to create offers that really are easier to sell and keep your paycheck consistent. So what's really great about a corporate career is, yeah, you get a consistent paycheck, but you also don't get your time back. What I often find with my clients that are coaches and consultants is that they are not only trading their time and working more hours, they're still not making as much as they made in corporate. And that can be not only a kick to the ego, but also really bad for business. So I wanted to dive into some proven strategies that I've worked with my clients that have helped them get off the merry-go-round so they don't have to work so hard for clients and they get to continue working with people that they really like. So stick with me as we dive into the framework that has worked for so many of my clients and helped them create not only consistent income, but it's also put so much ease in their business because they know how they work with people, what they're going to deliver, and the price range of what it looks like for them to deliver the results that they want to get people. Because honestly, not everybody's going to come into your business at the same level, and we have to meet them where they are. But that doesn't mean we can't move them up, down, or go back and forth between levels as we're doing work with them. And I think a lot of times when we're entrepreneurs, especially when we come out of corporate, we're really used to thinking in a linear fashion, like it's always got to go forward or backward or whatever. But if we can look at it as scalable, like we can go this way, we can move here for a while, that really kind of opens up our brain and helps us be more creative about how we can serve people and how they can pay us. So let's talk about the framework that I've used with my clients that help them get paid every month, gives them way more control over how they're going to deliver and meet expectations of their clients, which helps you get them better results because you know what path you're moving forward on. And you can say, hey, we were here, now we're here. And it's way less stressful for everybody because when a project is coming to a close, there's no uncomfortable conversation around we're not going to keep you going or we're not going to pay for the next portion or whatever that is, because as long as your clients continue to see results, they're going to keep paying you every month. And so if they're not seeing results, well, then that may be on you and you may have to readjust what you're delivering or adjust expectations. So let's move into what that really looks like for people. So the first thing that I have clients focus on, and this is usually where a lot of people get stuck, and I don't care if you are a surgical center or if you are an artist, you have to figure out this component of your business because if you don't, you're not going to stand out from anybody else. And people aren't going to know if you can help them with their problem. And so answering this very specific question is, I help who is currently experiencing this problem and get to this solution over here, and it took this long. So I wanted to give you a couple examples of what that really looks like. Because a lot of times when we're looking at businesses, it's kind of hard to put our own business in the shoes of the example. So let's look at, I currently am talking to an organization that does surgery. And one of the things I do for people is I go out and I do a competitive analysis, and then I do an analysis of what they're doing. And one of the things that really stood out for me for this specific organization is they weren't painting a picture of what it looked like after their patients had surgery. In fact, it was so bad that the call to action on their website was asking if they were injured. And I was like, duh, like, nobody's surfing the internet looking for a surgeon unless they need surgery. It was such a no-brainer question. It was like, of course I'm hurt or I wouldn't be here. Whereas their competitors did a really great job of painting a picture of afterward. We're going to get you back on the ski slope so you can ski with your grandkids. We're going to get you back on the tennis court so you can play tennis. We're going to get you back on the golf course so you can, show off your brand new swing with your new shoulder. Whatever it was, they were like, okay, we know you enjoy this. Right now, you can't do those things because you have this injury, but we're going to help you get there so you can do those things not only as good as you did before, but better. That's what you're looking for is like, okay, I help these people. So they help injured people who have, shoulder injuries, hand injuries, foot injuries, ankle injuries, whatever those things are, get back to the lifestyle that they were enjoying before and even better. And so look at your own business and see if you're answering that question. So I put together a couple other ones. So for me, I help executive coaches go from sell, deliver, panic, repeat mode into having consistent revenue and increasing their profit and revenue within 90 days. The surgery center did not have a time frame in there, probably because, if you're going through surgery, it can vary depending on how your body heals, but they did a really great job of painting the picture of before and after. So look at that for your own business. The second example I have for you that's from one of my clients is I help operations managers go from feeling overwhelmed and overworked to running an organization that supports their people, their profit, and their personal life in less than 6 months. It's very clear, like they're running around like these crazy, overworked, overwhelmed people, and they don't have the systems and processes in place to have the organization run any other way. The people that, the coach comes in, consultant comes in, and they help them set those things up. And then not only is their work life affected, but their personal life is affected too, because they can sleep at night, they can take time off, they can go on a vacation, all of those different things. So that's the first thing you need to answer is I help who go from this horrible situation that they're currently in to the situation that they want to be in. And it's going to take approximately this long. Now, another thing that people get kind of caught up on is like, I can't guarantee. No, you can't guarantee. But if you have enough experience, you can give a pretty good guesstimate. And most people aren't going to hold you to, it's going to be exactly this amount of time because every situation is different. And so it might take somebody 3 months. It might take somebody 6 months. Most people are going to realize as they're in the process where you are, that you're moving forward, and they're not going to question, oh, by the way, you said it was going to be exactly 90 days and it's 91 days. And most people are not going to do that. And if they are, you probably don't want them as clients anyway. So how do we do this? How do we get started? How do we create this in our business? Well, the first thing is we have to create different offers for different people coming in at different places. And that can be super overwhelming unless you look at it from the perspective of like, okay, if they're coming in and they're just getting started in this area and they only want to make these small improvements, they're going to be at this level. If they come in and they've already created some things and maybe they just need my help to look at them and see what's working, what's not working, and then get some advice on how to adjust the things that aren't working, they'd be at this level. And then the last one is like, they full on have all these things and they have these big goals and they want to do all of these things. But right now, these things are broken. These things are kind of working and these things haven't been created yet. That's a different level. Of course, a lot of these things at different levels are going to take a different amount of time from you. And so you have to price them accordingly. For example, if we were looking at my business, I have people that come in at 3 different stages. They come in at the start stage where they're just getting started with a business. They don't have a lot of foundation set up. They don't have a website. They don't have anything created for a marketing plan really. And they just want to be able to run and get started and get some clients. And then I have people that have come in and they've been in business for a bit and they have set up a bunch of things and they might be doing a lot of different things, but none of them are actually leading to them getting clients. And so we need to go in and optimize where they are. And then the third group of people I have are like been in business. Some things are working, some things are not working. They don't know how to get to the next level. They don't know how to grow and scale their business. And so they're at this different level. Each of those requires different skills, different strategies, and a different time investment for me. And so creating 3 offers is your first step. You want to figure out, okay, where are people coming in? What are the problems they have at that level? How much time is it going to take me to help them fix it? And realistically, and how am I going to show them results along the way? Because it's really important for them to see that you're making progress so that they continue to invest with you. And that empowers you to set them up at a rate that you can charge them monthly to keep moving through the process. Now, if they decide to cancel, then the process stops. So it's really important that you have those milestones along the way so you can show, hey, you were here, now you're here. This is the improvement that we've seen along the way. So let's keep going. So you want to set up those models for you and just keep it simple. You don't have to create these fancy names or anything exciting about those. What's more important is really delineating where they are and where they're going to be during the process. Now, the other thing that I want to add in here is that many, many times, as I see with my clients, is they're going to start in one place. They're going to go out and do their thing, and then they're going to come back and go, wait a minute, now I'm here and I have more problems. I need you to help me with those too, because you got them success over here. And so if you can give them success in one place, the chance that they're going to continue on with you later or even right after they finish that first step is much, much higher because you've shown them you can do what you say you can do and you've got them results and they're moving forward. So the next step is pricing your offers. And a lot of times what I see is that people will price their offers based on time. And at some point, you have to stop trading time for money because what people are actually buying, if you're a coach or a consultant, is your experience and knowledge for solving this problem for other people. And they want you to do the same thing for them. And so, yes, you could have fewer inclusions on say, the basic package where you're only talk to them like once a month, and then you're available for this many, minutes of questions, or they're only available, they only have access to you via email or whatever that might be. And then if they move up to, the medium level, that includes more time with you. It includes, a certain amount of follow-up in a certain amount of time. Like maybe you'll get them a response within 24 hours. And then they get access to some other benefit, like maybe a monthly workshop or a monthly mastermind group or something like that. So when we are pricing those things, we need to, one, think about, the first thing I see is that people price their offers way too low. And they think they have this mindset around money that people won't pay a certain amount of money, but it all comes down to the results you're delivering. Again, like if people are seeing results, they're willing to pay for that money because they are paying you as an expert. And so many times I've had people come out of corporate and they're like, oh, I'm only going to charge $50 an hour. I'm like, okay, hold the fire, my people, because let's add up what you used to make in corporate. And then we got to add in taxes, and we got to add in you're paying your own health insurance, and we got to pay in like all of these different things. And let's put a price on all of the knowledge and experience and expertise that you've acquired over time. And that kind of stops them in their tracks. So when you're pricing your offers, I want you to take those things into consideration too, because one of my mentors has a really great saying, which is the transformation begins with the transaction. So if people aren't willing to pay you for those things that you've put into a package to get the transformation that they desire, they won't get the transformation. Like there is an equal exchange there that has to happen. The reality is that when you're making big transformations, especially for organizations, they're going to pay because they know that you bring to the table this immense amount of knowledge and experience that you have been acquiring for years that is going to catapult them in the direction they want to go quicker than they could ever get on their own. And so when you're pricing these options, take into consideration a couple of things. One, like how much time you're going to actually have to invest with them, to where they are in the process and how much more of your brain they get access to because you're charging for your knowledge. And 3, most importantly, is how much of your brain do they get when you're not in the room with them? Because a lot of times when you're working with people, you're going to go and noodle on the conversation and come up with new ideas, new perspectives, new ways to approach the problem. They should be paying for that time because you're still working on their solution, even if you're not face to face. And so those are the things that people don't charge for all the time. They don't think, oh, I should charge for the time that I'm not with them. But you should, even if you're not implementing solutions, because you're still using your brain power, your experience, your knowledge, all of the things you've collected to put towards their problem. So when you're pricing those three options, take into consideration those three things, like how much time are you going to spend with them? How much knowledge, access to your knowledge when you're with them, do they get? And how much time are you going to be spending thinking about them after you've had a conversation with them when you're not in a room together that you're going to bring back to the next conversation? And so a lot of times there's a little bit of hesitancy to set up a monthly plan with people. And I think part of that has to do with money mindset and the way that a lot of businesses, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs have run business on a very project by project basis. But in reality, it's actually a better fit for you and for the client to create these monthly contracts, because sometimes you'll get into a project. I've had this happen many, many times. And the way I describe it in my business is I start pulling the dead bodies out of the closet, because so many people have all of these things in their marketing that they've invested in and thrown money at. And oh yeah, but we have that and we did that. And they've just like been sitting there. And nobody said, why are you doing this? Wait, hold the fire. What's happening over here? And they're like, oh yeah, I totally forgot we did that. And like in the meantime, they've been paying all this time for subscriptions and for somebody to implement that, somebody to, be posting on social and all of these different things. And they completely lost track of it. And so a lot of times I have to go literally and pull dead bodies out of the closet and go, what's happening here? Why are you spending all this money on these things that aren't working for you, and that you've forgotten about? And that is what has to happen no matter what kind of project that you're working on with people. And that sometimes can take a lot more time than getting things into action, but it's still delivering value to them. And so I use that example because a lot of times when I start a contract with a new client, I don't know what I'm walking into. More often than not, they haven't kept track of the things that they're actually investing in. And so we have to go through this onboarding process of figuring each other out and me figuring out their business. If I were just to give them a project proposal, which I've done in the past, all of the time that I spend doing those things, I'm not being paid for. And so when I switched my business to this subscription type model, it empowers me to stay in the moment with their business and actually deliver the value they need to get them to the goal that we defined to begin with. Because we're not going to get to the goal when we have all this baggage we have to unpack and figure out, dragging us down. And so normally when clients look at it that way, one, there's a couple of things. They're not having to dump out a giant amount of money to work with you right away. Two, you're not stuck footing the bill for a bunch of hours that you invest into a project that you didn't know the entire scope of. And three, it gives people flexibility to, one, start at one level and then go into another level. And it gives you the opportunity to show them results along the way that they may not even have expected or planned on. And so that just goes to build deeper trust with them and a deeper relationship with them, which automatically leads to a longer engagement. And so it's a win-win for both you and your clients in a number of ways. They don't have to invest in a full-time person to do this and see if that's going to work out. They don't have to know everything that's going on with a project up front, even though they might think they do when you go and do those I spy investigations for them, you're going to find things they didn't see because normally organizations are only aware of so much because they have blinders on. They're like any business. You're only operating from the perspective that you're familiar with. When you bring an outside perspective in, you're going to get a new view. So those are the reasons that people do like the subscription model, and it gives them the opportunity if it's not a good fit on either side, it makes the breakup easier for both parties. So let's give you an action plan to get started because you can't see results when you don't take action. And so I always try to come up with an action plan for you. And this one's very simple. You could do it in a week, you could do it in a month, you can do it however long you want to take to complete it. It's basically 3 steps. Number 1, you're going to write down what results you want to create for each audience. So if you have multiple audiences like I do where they're at different levels, you want to write down results for each level. So people coming into my Authority Launchpad program are ready to start their business. They have a completely different set of needs and challenges that they are experiencing than somebody who's in my Optimized program. Those people are wanting to create predictable profit and they are not in the same place. So I need to create that statement for every single group that I'm working with. And that is really how you should align your offers, is with the different groups that you work with. If you work with one entire group, but you give them different results at different levels, you still need to do this. So if you're working with an operations organization, for example, and you are working with leaders, they need a different statement versus somebody that's doing the actual oversight of the manufacturing floor versus people that are on the floor. Those are 3 different groups of people that you're going to have to deal with and implement your processes. And so you need to have a different statement for each of them because otherwise they're going to tune out. They're like, that's not for me. It's like giving somebody a romance novel that wants to read about sports. The minute you give them, they're like, there's no need for me to read this because I'm not into that. So anyway, think about that when you're creating your statement. That's step number 1, is to figure out that statement, build the plans around those statements. Like, what are you going to deliver to those people? And how are you going to charge for it? That's step 1. So that could take you a month. It could take you a week, it could take you a day, it could take you an hour, whatever you want to do. But that's step 1, is who your people are, where they are now, where they want to be, and how long it's going to take you to get them there, how much time that's going to take, and what is going to be required on both parties' sides, and what are you going to charge for it. The next part is where we start to implement. And the best way to implement the strategy is with current clients. So if you have clients that are already signed up for a package with you, or that, they're coming to the end of their contract and you can see that they need more work, you can implement with them and say, hey, I have this brand new process that I'm implementing. You're going to be the first one to try it. You could even offer them a discount if you want. I always say, build that into the pricing. Like, that's the smart way to do it. Yeah, I'm going to give you this discount, but it's, in your brain, it's already built in. So, or you do give them a break and then just let them know, hey, I'm giving you a break, so that if they refer somebody else, that person knows that the pricing is different for them. And then when you approach those people, because they already enjoy working with you and they like you and they want to get more from you, the chances that they're going to want to convert to this new program that isn't such a huge financial commitment. So maybe instead of having a 50 grand project that they have to pay for right away, they move to a monthly, which is, $5 grand a month. That's a big difference. And it's much easier to get past their managers and the directors and all the people that have to do the approving. And so it's a smaller ask when you do it on a monthly basis, even though it's the same amount of money over time. So the third part of this is when you're bringing it to market to new people. And the simplest way to do this is to just rip off the Band-Aid and no longer do one-off projects. Oftentimes that can be really scary because, especially as a business owner, you're like, oh, but I've done it this way and I really like it this way and I don't know if I want to change. But in the long term, if you switch to the new model, it's going to bring you way more peace of mind, especially if you're not a huge numbers person. You're going to know, okay, I have this person that's paying this much a month, this person paying this much a month. This is my financial goal, and I know it needs to be here. I need to get two more people at this level and one more person at this level to meet this goal. It's much easier than just going, oh, I hope and pray that I get another $50,000 contract or whatever it is um, to meet your goal. It is much more attainable to just move from that monthly subscription model and know you have the power to retain people, to keep people moving forward, to move them into the next process phase, um, and keep them under your umbrella so they become long-term clients, because that is a much easier way to run your business than having to constantly go get new clients. If you're continuing to deliver value and results for these people, they're going to want to keep moving forward with you. So that's the simple process. The first step is to set up your offer levels and pricing. The second is to start implementing it with your existing clients and get some feedback from them, and maybe have a few wrinkles that you need to iron out. And then the last is you implement with all your new clients and you start promoting it of the way that you do business. So I would love to know from you if you have your 3 levels written out yet, or when you're going to do it. So leave that in the comments, because I really want to know how you're going to structure that. And, if you have names, or, when you're going to start implementing, leave that in the comments, because I really want to know. If you're feeling a little stuck and you're like, oh, this sounds more complicated than what she's making it. Like, I don't know if I can figure out those levels. I don't know how much to include in each level. I definitely don't know how to price it. I got you covered. In the link below, or the description below, you can find a link to book a free strategy call with me. In that call, we're going to determine, okay, where you're at now, what would be the best option to set up those 3 levels and what they could look like. Of course, it's going to come down to you as the business owner making that decision. But then, okay, I've come up with those, a rough draft. I can go and iron that part out. Now, how do I bring it to market? If you're interested in that call, the link is below, and I will also pin it as the first comment on YouTube. If you want to book that call, you can go and book that, and I'm happy to walk through that with you. In the meantime, if you've enjoyed this video, and I would love for you to click the like button, because YouTube really likes that. If you want more content and information to grow your coaching and consulting business based on experience, click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos. And I would love for you to share this with a friend if you found value in it. So thanks so much for tuning in this week. I'll see you next week. In the meantime, take care, be well, and I'll see you soon.